Hey everyone, it's Jamie from Independence Street Tarot and Seasons from Ritual, and it is February 14th. So happy Valentine's Day for you guys that celebrate today. I'm coming on here because yesterday and today Mars is in conjunction with Pluto, who is in Aquarius. So yesterday they were at 0 degrees of Aquarius, and it's important to remember that Pluto is in a new area of Aquarius where it's still at 0 degrees, but in minutes, it's in a new area of Aquarius. And then we have Mars coming in, who is meeting Pluto at this new area. Um, and the way that I'm going to explain this is we're going to be bouncing around a lot. There's not going to be too much math involved, so bear with me. I keep trying to figure out the best way to explain this, but the reality of it is a lot of it's just kind of channeled as it comes in. I am an Aquarius. My sun sign is an Aquarius. And in the Tarot, the Knight of Swords is air. And the way I explain him is like when he's in the zone, he's in the zone. So let's get into the zone and explain this. So Pluto is an Aquarius at new degrees. I mean, at 0 degrees, but new minutes of Aquarius. And then Mars goes in and meets them there, and they are conjunct. So they have a deep conversation. So I think what's important about this is to remember that Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, but Scorpio's ancient ruler was Mars. And so Mars is familiar with Scorpio and with Pluto. Mars is then familiar with feelings because Scorpio is water, and water rules our feelings and our creativity. Mars was given to Aries, and Aries for that long time was the god of war, right? Mars is that god of war, and Aries is that aggression, right? So we're going through it, and it took off with that patriarchal theme. Aries, when it came in, it was no holds barred. We're just going in, we're burning up the place, we're burning it to the ground, right? Didn't care. That was Mars in Aries. And Mars now rules Aries, correct? So in 2018, Uranus entered Taurus. Okay, Taurus is fixed earth. We have to remember that Scorpio is fixed water. Um, when and Uranus is Aquarius's modern day ruler. So when Uranus went into Taurus in 2018, to me, that was the story. That was the story that Uranus and Taurus is going to be in there till 2026. And that to me signaled, okay, we're bringing in a new way of creation. We're bringing in a new way of being. We're being a new way of showing up, a new way of planting seeds, if you will, a new way to see the earth, a new way, and just a whole new way, because Aquarius's ruler, which is Uranus, modern ruler, which is Uranus, and Aquarius is fixed air. So the fixed air ruler is going into Taurus, which is fixed earth. Okay. When these fixed signs start working with each other, that's a lot of shakeup. That's a lot of movement, right? That's like things aren't going to be the same. So now we have Mars, Scorpio's ancient ruler, who's fixed water, now in Aquarius, who is fixed air, okay, with Pluto, who is the god of the underworld, who now rules Scorpio, which is fixed water, who is transformation, right? And they meet up. And now Mars rules Aries, which is fire. So now we still have the fire element. So now we're getting all the elements working together, okay? I'm going to bring it back around. So when when Uranus went into Taurus back in 2018, it might have been in 2019 or so that Mars in Aries kept getting zapped by Uranus. And that signaled to me, okay, this is the change for Mars. Mars is now moving into a divine masculine side of himself. Aries is now moving into a more divine masculine side of itself. It was leaving behind the old patriarchal energy that it has been steeped in for over 2,500 years or so. Okay, so that was happening years ago. And now, and what that meant then was that it was bringing in accountability. Okay. Like Mars and Aries before would just go burn shit to the ground and then leave and move on. And it's just like, well, that's that. What that brought into me was accountability. So then they either thought first, what's going to happen if we burn this shit to the ground? Or if they burned it to the ground, they were like, oh my God, look what we did. We've got to rebuild. Okay. So now here we are in 2024. And you've got to see, like, this has been a lot. We've been going through a lot, for years, um, getting us to this place where we are now, that this new age of Aquarius, if you will. And so now Mars is conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. And to me, that is still, it's highly transformative. Mars, who then went to from being a warrior to more of a spiritual warrior, is now getting transformed again. He's in Aquarius, right? So this is thinking, right? Changing the way he thinks, which again happened when Uranus was hitting him. It was changing the way he thinks, right? Because Uranus rules the cosmos. And now he's meeting up with his friend Pluto, and Pluto is taking him to the underground to transform the rest that needs to be transformed in this masculine energy. Now, Mars rules movement because he is the masculine, and this great transformation, if you will, is going to wake us up and want us to get to start moving on things that we find more dear to our heart. Okay. It's going to get us to want to move towards things that we personally find important to us. Remember, Aquarius is the individual first and then the community. And it is important to remember that the North Node is in Aries. And the North Node is the lunar North Node. The lunar North Node is what we strive for, okay? And as a collective. And what we're striving for as a collective is to really be in our own I am presence in a compassionate way, and not a, narcissistic, detached, full of grandeur, sort of ego-y way, right? Because Aries is fire and fixed fire is Leo. And Leo at its lowest vibe is really egotistic, what are you going to do without me kind of bullshit. But Leo in its highest is that inspiration of fire. Like, ooh, I can do it. You can do it. Like, let's be inspired. Let's get things done. So Mars, the initiator, so Aries, the initiator, who's ruled by Mars, the lunar North Node is in Aries. And so that's what we're striving towards, that idea of, who am I now? Who am I allowed to be now? The masculine is now a divine masculine, which means it listens to its feminine side, right? It listens to its intuition. It realizes it has to work together. There can't be a separation, no matter how we present. We have masculine and feminine energies within us, and they must move together. And so this is a huge transformation for that Martian energy, if you will, that Mars energy. And if you've been working on yourself, it's not going to be as big as a jolt to you as others. Okay. They might be like, oh my God, like what's going on? Right. But you, have been working on this. You are connected to this idea of change. Right. And you have to remember these fixed signs, once they get fixed, they like to stay fixed. So this big movement of change that's been happening since 2018, we're still in that process of change. But it's important for you guys to remember that the planets have been setting the bricks. They've been churning things up, but they've been setting the stage, if you will. And I feel like that's one of the greatest things with astrology now, getting out of those old patriarchal ways. Like before, it would just be that toxic masculine way where everyone was in competition, everyone was fighting, everyone was jockeying for space, and then here comes Mars, right? Guns blazing. And now the reality of it is they've all been quietly working together, or not so quietly, honestly, but working together for for years, honestly, not just since 2018, but getting this to where we are now. And it's important to me when we start seeing astrology to see how like they all know each other and they all know how to work together. Okay. This idea that old patriarchal, like the old patriarchal myths, you know, of man sees woman and decides to take woman against her will no matter what. You know, Zeus was constantly changing into different things, right? So he could go have sex with someone. Hera was always seen, you know, she's the peacock. She's got eyes everywhere because she was so jealous because she wanted to keep her narcissistic brother slash husband on a tight leash and it never worked, right? And so that whole energy is leaving the planet. And when I say that, it is like that energy isn't there. We're not going to worship that energy like we were taught to with these myths. We're starting new myths, right? We're starting the hero's journey, right? Like Mars, which moves us, has met death right now with Pluto. What's dying within us, right? That we can no longer bring with us. It's a whole new beginning on how we move forward and how we talk about ourselves, right? And how we see ourselves and how we think about ourselves, right? Pluto's in Aquarius. How do we make ourselves stable? Well, how do we see ourselves? How do we value ourselves? Well, those stability and creativity is not only with Aquarius, but it's also with Taurus, right? Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is how we value ourselves. Venus is creativity, right? Venus is the earth. Well, Aquarius's ruler is in Uranus. I mean, is Uranus, who is in Taurus right now. So they're all working together, you know, whether mathematically we can connect them right now or not, right? This isn't, you know, you wake up one day and you're in a totally different country. You know, I guess it could feel like that sometimes, but the thing is, they're working together to get us more balanced and more stable to move forward. Now, Venus right now is still in Capricorn. Venus will move into Aquarius, I think on the 17th, 18th. Okay. This is important because Venus rules Taurus, which is fixed earth, but Venus also rules Libra, okay, which is cardinal air. Okay, Aquarius, fixed air, Libra, cardinal air. Libra, the scales. Okay, the south node, what we're leaving behind, is in Libra. North node, Aries, what we're going towards. South node, what we're dropping off, Libra. Okay, Aries ruled by Mars, Libra ruled by Venus. Okay, Venus is about to go meet death in 4 days or so. This is changing our whole narrative of how we see and speak and talk about ourselves as masculine and feminine energy. The feminine energy is how we receive. It's how we are compassionate, right? It's how we nurture. In order for it to be express itself, it has to work in tandem with the masculine. There's no way around it. And the patriarchy did a really good job separating that out of us, right? When we know our boundaries, like I can't, that's out of my realm, we can say no and everyone's in a better place. But when we were taught, no, you've got to show up no matter what. You've got no. Love's unconditional. It doesn't matter how you're being treated. You've got to stay in that relationship. You know, no, we don't, right? And that's what we're leaving behind. Okay. Libra is known to be a people pleaser. Libra doesn't feel imbalanced unless everyone else around them feels imbalanced first. And that's at its lowest vibration. And so that's what we're flushing, right? My friend always says, flush, that's what we're flushing. Okay. We're flushing this idea that everyone else has to be okay before we're okay, right? How does you think that makes us feel? Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is love. And I'm not saying if you're a Libra, you've never felt love. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, as a collective, we're leaving this idea that we have to make sure everyone else is okay before we're okay. Libra wants balance. Okay. So we're getting okay with the idea, right? The idea, because Libra is also air, that I can be okay first. And if someone's not okay, well, I can offer my help. And if it's not working, then I'm okay letting them figure it out on them by themselves and finding other help, because I know who I am. And that's that North Node, Mars and Aries, the I am presence. I know who I am. This is what we're moving towards as a collective. And so a lot of stuff, all these old stories are going to be falling away. And like this idea of this might makes right is going to start being really, no, it's not actually where we are anymore. It's going to be very jarring, right? And it's going to be interesting how quickly this conversation changes, because again, when Pluto enters things, that's transformation. That is death and rebirth. Okay. It's not like it's not kind of like sorta. It's like, no, it's done. Okay. It is transmuted and something else has sprung up. Okay. Which is quite beautiful. Sometimes more in theory than maybe as we see it played out. But the idea is that I want you guys to know we are in this huge time of change. We are in this huge time of moving forward. Everything is direct. But it's also important to note that all these planets and energies have been talking to each other, not only for eons, but very intensely now, at least since like 2018. When I came back for reals, like I always like did astrology, but all of a sudden it was like, I mean, I can't explain it to you guys. It was like the energy, spirit, however you want to call it, was like this. We got to get on this. We got to start talking about this, because it was important to start talking about these planets differently. It's important to start seeing them now. You know, it's important for us to change our myths. It's important for us to see ourselves on this hero journey. And part of that journey is that death and rebirth. In that masculine's getting died. I don't think that makes sense, but you know what I mean? Right now with Pluto, and then the feminine side is going to meet Pluto. And then we journey on. And then they're going to be conjunct Mars and Venus on the 22nd. So this really is in winter, which I think is so beautiful, because that's when we go in, a death of the old, and we are moving into the new. Now, there was one more thing I wanted to say. Saturn, Aquarius's ancient ruler, is in Pisces. Okay, and Pisces is mutable water, and we'll be in Pisces season pretty soon. So again, there are these conversations that are happening, and if you can't, do it mathematically, just know vibrationally. Okay, my ruler of Uranus has been in Taurus now since 2018. Taurus by now was not, and that's so, okay, we got to do it, we got to take it. But by now, Taurus realizes, okay, yeah. I mean, even though Taurus realized then, okay, I got to change. You bring in the best to get you to change when you're a fixed sign, right? You don't pussyfoot around. Okay, and we're gonna do this, right? Aquarius is pulled in Pluto, Scorpio's ruler. Scorpio rules feelings, right? At the same time, you say Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is love. Okay. At the same time, you say Aquarius ruled by Uranus, which is the cosmos. And how do we need to think with our heart? And then Leo, ruled by the sun, which is our divine masculine, right, is all about love, the heart of a lion, and lighting things up in being that inspiration, right? And so these are the themes that we're all moving into. These are the themes that are being held and moved into the planet. Okay. So it's important when things come up and we feel bad, to honor those feelings, to know that things are leaving. In we're in winter, right? So sometimes it's gray outside. But it is still, we're still within ourselves. When spring hits, we'll start to come out more. But it's okay to have a little bit of optimism. It is okay to, the world right now on the news is not cheerful, to say the least, right? And so this is the time where we start to decide how we want to show up in our communities in order to be the change that we want to see in the world. I know it sounds cliche, but it really is. It really is that time. So maybe start making some plans on what you guys want to do in the spring. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys have any comments about Mars conjunct Pluto or Venus being conjunct Pluto, please put it below. Oh, I was going to say too, the day that I am recording this, which is on the 14th, the moon is in Taurus. So our sun is still in Aquarius, fixed air. And our sun is our masculine. And then our moon, which is our divine feminine, is in Taurus. So I was telling everyone in my moon school, this is a great day to have a conversation and to see what comes in. If you guys would like a tarot reading or your astro chart done, please reach out to me. You can reach out to me IndependenceStNola.com or through here on YouTube. And then again, I'm on Instagram at Seasons and Ritual and Independent Street Tarot. Okay, guys, till then, happy death, I would say, but most importantly, happy rebirth.